Not the aesthetic version of hope, not the Pinterest quote hope, not the soft background music hope, the real kind. The kind that sits quietly beside fear and still refuses to live. We are living in a strange time. The world feels loud and fragile at the same time. Wars stream in real time, economies shake, housing feels unreachable, groceries feel heavier in the carts, even when the bags are lighter. Algorithms tells us who to be. Productivity is worshipped. Burnout is normal. Loneliness is common. Everyone is performing wellness. Everyone is tired. And yet, every morning, people wake up and try again. That fascinates me. Because when you zoom out, it feels irrational. Why try so hard in a world that feels this uncertain? Why build when systems crumble? Why dream when the news scroll never ends? And I think the answer is simple. Because hope is not life's tease. Hope is not a cruel trick dangling something better in front of us. It is not bait. It is not manipulation. It is not delusion. Hope is evidence. Evidence that something in us knows that this cannot be all there is. If hope were a tease, it would exhaust itself. It would embarrass us. It would expose itself as foolish. But instead, across generations, across continents, across crises, hope keeps resurfacing. It regenerates like instinct. That tells me it is built into the architecture of being human. But here is the tension. The current state of the world tests hope in ways that feel relentless. Social media collapses distance between us and suffering. There is no buffering period anymore. No gentle delay between tragedy and awareness. We see everything instantly, constantly. And psychologically, we were not built for that volume. We were built for community-sized problems, village-sized grief, tangible enemies, clear seasons. Now we carry global anxieties in our nervous systems while still trying to figure out rent, career progression, relationships, and identity. We are overstimulated and under-anchored. And in that space, cynicism starts to feel intelligent. It feels sophisticated to say nothing matters. It feels sharp to detach. It feels mature to lower expectations. It feels safe to mock optimism. But if you examine that closely, cynicism is often just wounded hope. It is hope that was disappointed and decided to protect itself. And I understand that instinct. I feel it too. When institutions fail, when leadership disappoints, when injustice repeats itself, when you do everything right and life still resists you, when you move countries and realize reinvention is both freeing and lonely, when you work hard and still question if it's enough. It is tempting to conclude that hope is naive, but I don't think it is. I think hope is defiance. It is a quiet rebellion against entropy. Look at history. Progress has never been linear. It has always been messy, uneven, unfair. Yet over time, humanity expands rights, knowledge, medicine, connectivity. It regresses, yes, but it also advances. That pattern alone suggests that despair is not the full story. The danger right now is not that the world is broken. The world has always been imperfect. The danger is numbness. When everything feels catastrophic, nothing feels urgent. When outrage is constant, empathy thins. When compassion is endless, gratitude shrinks. When productivity is idolized, rest feels illegal. we are at risk of confusing stimulation for meaning. And hope, real hope, requires stillness. It requires you to pause long enough to ask what is actually within my control. Because hope without agency becomes fantasy, and hope anchored in action becomes transformation. I cannot fix global politics. I cannot single-handedly rebalance economies. I cannot control inflation, climate systems, or corporate greed. But I can control how I respond. I can build skill. I can nurture relationships. I can create. I can volunteer. I can vote. I can choose integrity in small decisions. I can refuse to participate in cruelty. I can rest without guilt. I can be honest about my fears without surrendering to them. Those are not grand gestures, but they are cumulative. And the world is built cumulatively. There is another layer to this. A lot of us were raised on achievement as salvation. Study hard and life will reward you. Move abroad and everything will expand. Build a platform and validation will follow. Optimize your body and confidence will arrive. Monetize your passion and fulfillment will be constant. Reality is more complex. You can do everything strategically and still encounter randomness. So where does that leave hope? It forces us to redefine it. Hope is not a guarantee of specific outcomes. It is trust in meaningful effort. It is the belief that your actions matter even when results are delayed. It is understanding that growth is often invisible until it compounds. It is patience with seasons you did not plan. In the current world climate, patience feels radical. Everything is instant. Food, entertainment, validation, opinions. We are conditioned to expect acceleration. So when life unfolds slowly, we interpret it as failure. But what if slowness is not punishment? What if it is preparation? Think about it. Death cannot be rushed. Character cannot be downloaded. Wisdom cannot be automated. Community cannot be mass-produced. These things require friction. And friction feels uncomfortable in a culture addicted to ease. Another thing I notice about the world right now is polarization. Conversations are brittle. Nuance feels suspicious. People retreat into ideological corners and shout across digital walls. Hope requires nuance. It requires the humility to admit complexity. It requires the courage to hold two truths at once. The world is struggling and there is still beauty. Systems are flawed and individuals can still be kind. Technology distracts us and it also connects us. Binary thinking shrinks hope. Complexity expands it. I also think we underestimate resilience. Not in a toxic positivity way. Just be strong way, but in a biological way. Humans adapt, we reorient, we survive transitions we thought would once break us. Look at your life. There were moments that felt definitive, rejections that felt final, losses that felt unbearable, moves that felt terrifying, and yet here you are. Changed, yes, scarred, maybe, but functioning. That is not accidental. That is resilience. The resilience is the backbone of hope. And let me be honest about something. Hope is exhausting when you are carrying too much alone. The current state of the world has amplified isolation. Even when we are digitally connected, we are often emotionally distant. Vulnerability feels risky. Everyone curates, everyone edits. So we assume we are the only ones doubting. We are not. Behind polished feeds and professional titles are people quietly negotiating anxiety, debt, family expectations, immigration paperwork, career pivots, identity shifts. Hope grows in community. It withers in comparison. If I could dissect one subtle thread to hope, it would be that constant comparison distorts timelines. You think you are late. You think you are behind. You think everyone else has clarity. But life is not synchronized. There is no universal schedule. When you internalize that, hope becomes less frantic. It becomes steadier. The state of the world is uncertain. Climate concerns are real. Political divisions are real. Economic instability is real. Artificial intelligence is reshaping labor. Social trust is fluctuating. These are not imaginary anxieties. But throughout history, every generation believed it was living at the edge of collapse. Sometimes they were close. Sometimes they rebuilt. We are not uniquely doomed. We are uniquely aware. And awareness can either paralyze you or mobilize you. Hope chooses mobilization, not blind optimism, not denial, not ignorance. Informed, sober, stubborn belief that improvement is possible. You do not have to believe everything will be perfect. You only have to believe that effort is worthwhile. Because if hope were truly a tease, effort would be meaningless. But effort changes trajectories. Education changes access. Therapy changes patterns. Discipline changes outcomes. Conversations change perspectives. Small businesses change neighborhoods. Art changes narratives. Incrementally, quietly, often invisible at first. So maybe hope is not about expecting the world to fix itself. Maybe it is about refusing to withdraw your contribution, even when it feels small, especially when it feels small. There is something powerful about choosing to plant in uncertain soil, to build a skill in volatile markets, to love in a guarded culture, to stay curious in polarized environments, to rest in hostile economy. Those choices accumulate. And I think that is what keeps humanity moving forward. Not grand speeches, not viral moments, but millions of ordinary people making steady decisions rooted in the belief that tomorrow is worth preparing for. Because if tomorrow were not worth it, none of us would bother. The fact that you plan, the fact that you save, the fact that you create, the fact that you fall in love, the fact that you heal, the fact that you try again, that is proof. Hope is not life mocking you. It is life inviting you to participate, inviting you to build, inviting you to trust that meaning can coexist with chaos. I don't know what the next decade holds. None of us do. But uncertainty does not automatically equal doom. It simply means the story is still being written. And maybe our role is not to predict the ending. Maybe it is to write our paragraphs with integrity, to cultivate internal stability in unstable times, to resist the temptation to shrink into cynicism, to acknowledge our fear without surrendering to it. Because hope is not loud. It is quiet consistency. It is waking up and doing what you can with what you have. It is investing in growth you may not immediately see. It is believing that your existence is not accidental and your effort is not wasted. So when the world feels heavy, and it will, remember this: hope has survived empires. It has survived plagues. It has survived wars and recessions and revolutions. And it's still here, not as a tease, but as a compass. And as long as it exists, so does possibility.